10 Psychological Tricks on Controlling Any Person or Situation. Have you ever walked away from a conversation wondering, why did I just agree to that? Maybe you found yourself nodding along in a meeting, buying something you didn't plan on, or saying yes to a favor you really didn't want to do. It's like some people have this superpower, the ability to steer a conversation exactly where they want it to go. What if I told you that you could do the same? No, this isn't some mystical mind control trick or shady manipulation tactic. This is psychology, real, proven techniques that shape the way we think, respond, and make decisions. And once you understand these psychological tricks, you won't just see the world differently, you'll move through it differently. In this video, I'm breaking down 10 powerful psychological tricks that can help you control almost any person or situation, ethically, effectively, and with confidence. But before we dive in, here's something important. Influence is not about deception. It's about understanding human nature so you can communicate better, negotiate smarter, and navigate life's challenges with ease. Because let's be real, whether you're in business, relationships, or just everyday life, the ability to guide conversations and outcomes can be the difference between success and missed opportunities. So, are you ready to unlock the secrets of influence? Let's get into it. 1. The art of leading with assumptions. Let's start with one of the simplest but most powerful psychological tricks. Leading with assumptions. Have you ever noticed how some people just naturally take control of a conversation? They don't ask for permission. They act like things are already decided. And most of the time, people just go along with it. That's because the human brain loves to follow patterns. When we hear something stated as a fact, we're far less likely to challenge it. This is called the assumption principle, and when used correctly, it can make you incredibly persuasive. How it works. Instead of asking for something, you assume it's already happening. Instead of saying, "Would you like to help me with this?" say, "Thanks for helping me with this." Instead of asking, "Do you want to go to lunch?" say, "Let's grab lunch at 1." Instead of saying, "Can I have a discount?" try, "So, what kind of discount can you offer me?" By skipping the permission stage and moving straight to the action, you're making it easier for people to agree. Why it works. This plays on a psychological principle called commitment and consistency. Once someone starts moving in a direction, they're more likely to continue in that direction rather than create friction by saying no. Real-world example. This is exactly how great salespeople and leaders operate. Instead of asking if a deal is possible, they assume it's already in motion. They say things like, "I'll send over the paperwork so we can finalize things today." Since we're already moving forward, let's discuss the next step. Notice how those statements don't leave much room for disagreement? That's the power of leading with assumptions. How you can use this today. Want someone to help with a project? Say, "Thanks for handling this part. It'll make everything smoother." Want to get a better price? Say, "Since we're already working together, what's the best rate you can do?" Want to build confidence in a conversation. Talk as if the outcome is already decided, and watch how people follow your lead. This isn't about tricking people. It's about guiding conversations in a way that feels natural. And once you master it, you'll be amazed at how much influence you gain in everyday life. 2. The illusion of choice. Now, let's take it a step further. What if I told you that you could give someone a choice, while still controlling the outcome? This is known as the illusion of choice, and it's one of the most effective techniques used by parents, business leaders, and even top negotiators. How it works. Instead of asking a yes or no question, You offer two choices, both of which lead to the result you want. For example, do you want to clean your room? This gives them the option to say no. Do you want to clean your room now or after dinner? Both options lead to the same outcome, but they feel in control. See the difference? You're removing resistance by making them feel like they have control. But in reality, you're the one guiding the decision. Why it works. Our brains hate feeling forced into something, but we love feeling like we have options. By presenting choices that both work in your favor, people feel empowered, even though you're the one setting the terms. Real-world example. Ever been at a store and heard, "Would you like to sign up for our basic plan or the premium package? Do you want the blue model or the red one?" Notice what's missing? They're not asking if you want to buy something. They're asking which one you want. This is not an accident. This is marketing 101. How you can use this today. Want your friend to go out with you. Say, "Do you want to meet at 7 or 8? Instead of, "Do you want to go?" Negotiating a raise. Say, "Would you prefer a salary increase or an added bonus?" Instead of, "Can I get a raise?" Talking to your kids. Say, "Do you want to do your homework before or after your snack?" Instead of, "Will you do your homework?" The best part. People don't even realize they're being guided. They feel in control, while you get the outcome you want. 3. The power of silence. Let's talk about one of the most underrated yet deadliest psychological tricks you'll ever use. Silence. Most people are terrified of silence. In conversations, in negotiations, in social situations, when there's a pause, people feel the need to fill it. And that's exactly why silence is one of the most powerful tools of influence. How it works. When you say something important, stop talking. Ask a question, then wait. Make an offer, then say nothing. State your opinion, then let the silence do the work. What happens next? The other person starts talking to fill the void, often revealing information they never intended to share. Why it works. This plays on a psychological principle called social discomfort. Most people can't stand awkward silence, so they rush to fill it. And in doing so, they often give away power in a conversation. Real-world example. Imagine you're negotiating your salary. You say, "I was thinking of a salary increase to $80,000. Then you go silent. The employer feels the tension and rushes to speak. "Well, maybe we could do $75,000? You stay silent again, just nodding thoughtfully. They panic and say, "Okay, how about $80,000? See how that works." Silence forces the other person to keep negotiating against themselves. How you can use this today. In negotiations, state your price, then shut up. Let them speak first. In conversations, when someone gives you an answer, pause before responding. They'll often add more information than they originally planned. In arguments, instead of defending yourself immediately, just stare and wait. The other person will often start backtracking. A bonus tip. If you really want to see this in action, the next time someone asks you a question, pause for a few seconds before answering. They'll start second-guessing themselves. They might even change their question or offer more details without you saying a word. Silence isn't just a lack of words. It's a weapon, and once you start using it, you'll wonder why you ever talked so much in the first place. 4. The Benjamin Franklin effect. Now, let's talk about a trick that sounds backward, but works like magic. If you want someone to like you, make them do you a favor. Sounds crazy, right? But this is called the Benjamin Franklin effect, and it's backed by solid psychology. How it works. When someone does a favor for you, their brain justifies it by thinking, "I must like this person, or I wouldn't have done that." The more favors they do for you, the more they subconsciously feel invested in you. The psychology behind it. This is based on cognitive dissonance, the idea that our brain hates contradictions. If someone does a favor for you, their brain has to explain why. Instead of thinking, I did something nice for them, but I don't like them, their brain says, I must like them, or I wouldn't have done that. Real-world example. This trick is named after Benjamin Franklin, who used it to turn a political rival into a friend. Instead of trying to win him over with kindness, Franklin asked the man to lend him a rare book. When the man agreed, he later felt warmer toward Franklin, and they ended up good friends. Why? Because after doing Franklin a favor, his brain had to rationalize it. I wouldn't help someone I dislike, so I must like him. How you can use this today. Want to build a better relationship with a coworker? Ask them for a small favor, like borrowing a pen or getting their opinion on something. Want to make someone feel closer to you? Ask them for advice. Want to improve your relationship with a difficult person? Ask them for a tiny favor and watch how their attitude toward you shifts. It's counterintuitive, but it works every single time. 5. The mirror technique. The secret to instant connection. Have you ever met someone and just instantly clicked with them? Like the conversation just flowed and you felt completely at ease? Chances are that person was mirroring you. Mirroring is one of the most powerful psychological tricks to build trust, influence, and connection with anyone, without them even realizing what's happening. How it works. People are naturally drawn to those who are like them. We feel more comfortable around people who share our energy, mannerisms, and speech patterns. Mirroring works by subtly copying someone's body language. If they lean in, you lean in. Tone of voice. If they speak softly, you match their volume. Pace of speech. If they talk fast, you speed up. If slow, you slow down. Word choice. If they say awesome a lot, you sprinkle it into your responses. This triggers the like me bias, where people instinctively trust and like those who reflect their behavior. Why it works. This is all thanks to mirror neurons in the brain. When we see someone doing something familiar, our brain fires up in response, making us feel subconscious connection and trust. Real-world example. Ever notice how good salespeople match your energy? If you're excited, they get excited. If you're serious, they stay calm. Have you seen two best friends or couples who start picking up each other's mannerisms? That's natural mirroring at play. It's so effective that even FBI negotiators use it to build trust in high-stakes situations. How you can use this today, in a job interview. Mirror your interviewer's body language and speech style. On a date, match their tone and enthusiasm to create instant chemistry. In a business meeting, if they're leaning back confidently, do the same to establish mutual respect. The key. Be subtle. If you overdo it, it gets weird. But when done right, mirroring makes people feel like they've known you forever. 6. The foot in the door technique. The psychology of getting a yes. What if I told you that getting someone to agree to something big starts with something small? That's the foot in the door technique, one of the sneakiest yet most effective persuasion tricks ever discovered. How it works. You start by asking for something small, something so easy that the other person can't really say no. Once they say yes, you follow up with a bigger request, which is what you wanted all along. Because they've already agreed to the first request, their brain wants to stay consistent, making them far more likely to say yes again. Why it works. This is based on commitment and consistency bias. People don't like to contradict themselves. Once they take a small step, They feel obligated to keep going in the same direction. Real-world example. Salespeople use this all the time. Ever been offered a free trial that later led you to buy the full version? That's foot in the door in action. Political campaigns start with small commitments. They ask for a simple petition signature before asking for a donation. Charities know this well. They ask, "Can you spare just $1?" But once you donate, they follow up with a larger request. How you can use this today? Need a favor? Start with something tiny. Instead of, "Can you help me move?" say, "Hey, could you help me carry this box real quick?" Once they say yes, they're more likely to help with the bigger move. Want a client to commit? Get them to agree to a small task first, like a free consultation, before pitching your paid service. Trying to influence someone's mindset? Get them to agree to a small belief before introducing a bigger idea. This trick works like magic because people don't even realize it's happening. And once you start using it, you'll be shocked at how easy it is to turn a no into a yes. 7. The contrast principle. How to make anything seem more attractive. Did you know that the way you present a choice can completely change how people perceive it? That's the contrast principle. And it's the reason why a $50 steak looks cheap next to a $200 steak, but expensive next to a $10 burger. It's one of the most powerful psychological tricks in persuasion, and once you understand it, you'll see it everywhere. How it works. The brain doesn't judge things in isolation. It judges them based on comparison. So if you want something to seem more valuable, put it next to something way more expensive. More affordable. Put it next to something outrageously overpriced. More desirable. Contrast it with something less appealing. In other words, you control how something is perceived simply by what you put next to it. Why it works. Our brains don't see absolute value. They see relative value. Example, a $1,000 suit feels expensive. But if you're already buying a $50,000 car, the $1,000 suit suddenly feels like nothing. This is why high-end stores put their most expensive items up front. By the time you get to the cheaper $500 shoes, they look like a bargain. Real-world example. Real estate agents do this all the time. They'll first show you a rundown, overpriced house so that the next, slightly cheaper house seems like a steal. Car dealerships use it too. They'll show you a premium model first, making the lower-priced model seem much more reasonable. Restaurants do this with menu pricing. They'll have a $150 bottle of wine next to a $60 one, making the $60 bottle seem cheap in comparison. How you can use this today. Want a raise? First mention a ridiculously high number. I heard some people are getting 20K raises. Then ask for your real number. Selling something. Show a higher-priced option first to make your real price seem like a bargain. Trying to convince someone. Make the alternative seem way worse so your idea looks even better. The contrast principle is everywhere. And once you start using it, you'll see how easily you can shift people's perception in your favor. 8. The reciprocity rule. The power of giving. First, want to make someone feel obligated to say yes? Give them something first. That's the reciprocity rule, one of the strongest psychological forces in human behavior. How it works. People hate feeling like they owe someone something. So when you give them even a small favor, gift, or gesture, they feel a powerful subconscious urge to return the favor. This is why restaurants give free mints. It increases tips by up to 20%. Charities send free gifts before asking for a donation. Marketers give free samples because people feel guilty taking something for nothing. Why it works. Humans are wired for social balance. When someone does something nice for us, our brain says, "I need to return the favor." I owe them one. I can't take without giving back. And guess what? You can use this to gain influence, build relationships, and get what you want. Real-world example. Salespeople give freebies because they know you'll feel obligated to buy something. Networking pros offer value first, helping others before ever asking for anything in return. Clever negotiators give a little to make the other person feel compelled to return the favor. How you can use this today. Want someone to do you a favor? Do one for them first. Even something small will make them feel obligated to reciprocate. Want to build strong relationships. This trick is so powerful that companies, politicians, and salespeople use it against you every day. But now that you know how it works, you can start using it to your advantage. 9. The expectation effect. The power of shaping reality. What if I told you that simply expecting something from someone could actually change their behavior? That's the expectation effect, a psychological phenomenon where people subconsciously live up to the expectations placed on them. How it works. If you believe someone is going to do well, they're more likely to succeed. If you expect someone to fail, they're more likely to struggle. It's not magic, it's psychology. When people feel that others believe in them, they unconsciously work harder to meet those expectations. On the flip side, if they feel that others doubt them, their performance actually declines. This is also called the Pygmalion effect, and it's one of the most powerful forces in human behavior. Why it works. Our brains are wired for self-fulfilling prophecies. If a teacher expects a student to be smart, they treat them differently, and the student actually performs better. If a coach believes in an athlete, that athlete pushes harder and improves. If a boss expects you to be a leader, you start acting like one. Real-world example. In a famous study, researchers told teachers that certain students were gifted based on a test. In reality, these students were randomly chosen. They weren't actually smarter than anyone else. But guess what? By the end of the year, those students actually performed better than their classmates. Why? Because the teachers treated them differently, gave them more attention, more encouragement, and more belief, and the students rose to meet those expectations. How you can use this today. Want someone to succeed? Tell them you believe in them. Expect great things, and they'll try to live up to it. Trying to change a bad habit? Stop saying, "I always fail at this." Start saying, "I'm getting better every day." Your brain will believe it. Leading a team. Set high expectations and confidence in your people. They will rise to meet them. Expectation shapes reality. What you expect of others and yourself becomes your truth. 10. The fear of missing out, FOMO. The scarcity effect in action. Have you ever bought something just because it was about to sell out? Ever felt the urge to act quickly when you see only 2 spots left on a website? That's the fear of missing out, FOMO. And it's one of the most powerful psychological triggers ever discovered. How it works. When people think something is scarce, they want it more. If a product is limited, we see it as more valuable. If an opportunity is disappearing, we feel a sense of urgency to act. If other people are grabbing it, we assume it must be good. Why it works. This is based on loss aversion, a psychological rule that says people fear losing something more than they desire gaining something. Our brain hates the idea of missing out, so it pushes us to take action. Real-world example. Retailers use FOMO all the time. Limited time sale. Only 3 left in stock. Social media fuels it. Seeing people post their vacations, achievements, and purchases makes you feel like you're missing out, driving you to act. Events and launches use it. Exclusive access for the first 100 customers, and it works like crazy. How you can use this today: selling something. Create urgency. Only 5 spots left. Price goes up tomorrow. Want someone to commit? Make it feel like an opportunity they can't afford to miss, not something they can decide on later. Building excitement. Hype up exclusivity. People always want what they think they can't have. FOMO is everywhere because it works. And now that you understand it, you can use it to drive action, urgency, and influence.